I wanted to clarify a point. In traditional Pilates, the 100s refers to 100 beats of your hands. So when I count with the counts for breath, inhale 5, exhale 5, and count that as 1, that's actually sort of a 10 on the 100. So if you can get to 10 cycles of that, that's equivalent to the 100s. The reason I do that is I think the posture in the 100s is essentially a hollow hold, which is like a plank. It is the reverse of the normal plank where you're on your arms with your chest towards the ground. This one, your chest is towards the ceiling. And it exercises the abdominal muscles in a different way, the core in a different way. So I like to extend that. So if we get to 30 or 40 on that, it's pretty good exercise. So just to clarify that in case we have some people who follow traditional Pilates and say, wait a second, that's a lot more than a typical 100s. So moving on, we're going to do some yoga type moves. Again, it's important to pay address attention to your posture, your breathing. Inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth. Slowly, deep breaths. So for this, you can use your yoga blocks to protect your wrist. I like to use these perfect push-up handles. I don't advocate for any particular brand name. These are just happen to be the ones that I have. What I like about them is they allow you to swivel, to put your wrists, elbows, and shoulders in the most comfortable position possible. And particularly for me, with very limited wrist movement due to arthritis, these help protect my wrist. So first, since I'm wearing shoes, I don't want to put my feet on the mat while I'm doing these moves, but I do want the mat there to protect my knees. So I'm going to kneel down first in our tabletop position. And from this position, I want to lift my knees just off the floor a little bit and hold it as a plank. Remember to inhale, exhale slowly. We'll hold this for 3 cycles of breath. That's called a bear plank. Let me change the position on everything. So going back into our bear plank, I'm going to walk my hands forward, sit back into a modified child's pose. So child pose, typically knees are on the floor, you're stretching your arms, sitting down toward your heels. But in this one, I'm lifting my legs, my knees just off the floor, sitting back, and then sliding forward, and sit back, and forward. You can progress this by, in this position, doing a push-up, and sit back. And one more, and back. Returning to our child pose for 3 breath cycles. I'll bring these back for the next sequence. Go ahead and stand up. Going from the floor to a standing position is a fundamental skill for seniors. You want to keep working on that. Start in what you can call a mountain pose. So feet about shoulder width apart, toes basically forward, palms forward, stand up tall. Then we'll do a forward fold. You want to bend from your hips. You can push your hips back, and you can either go to where your back is neutral and horizontal, or you can lower, keeping your back neutral, or you can round your back. And back up to mountain. You don't want to hold that forward fold posture with your head below your heart for more than 3 breaths. And if it makes you dizzy, don't go beyond your back and head horizontal. Let's repeat that. I like to pause at the horizontal for a cycle. And then lower into a full forward fold. And back up. And let's go back into tabletop. From this position, keeping our feet on the floor, we're going to raise our hips and buttocks towards the ceiling and allow our head to come between our arms. This is the downward dog. You're back to tabletop. Again, in downward dog, your head is below your heart. So if this makes you dizzy, just raise up high enough to where your head and back or horizontal. And either way, you get a good stretch of your posterior legs and strengthening in the pelvic region. Traditionally, from downward dog, we move into a cobra, or where our back is extended. So we'll go back to downward dog. And into a cobra type posture. You can modify this by putting your knees on the floor. You don't want to overextend your back, just to a comfortable position. In this, I like to go back to child. Typically, I like to hold east posture for about 3 breath cycles. Back to tabletop. And one last cycle, going into downward dog. And we forward into a cobra type posture. Knees down and back into child's pose. Okay. Moving on, I'm going to do some exercises to strengthen the fascia components. So go ahead and stand up. For this, I'm going to do a backwards lunge, only as deep as is comfortable, and then twist to the side, back, backwards lunge, other direction twist. Other side. You can continue with a backwards lunge or go towards forward lunge. From here we want to lift both arms overhead. Try and get a good stretch on the anterior. Other side. And repeat that. And other side. Here, I'm going to put weight on my toe on this side, step back on this side, and I'm going to rotate and push towards the backwards corner. You want to make sure that your feet can rotate to avoid stressing your knees. Other side, push, back together. Feet offset, weight on your toes, back together. That concludes this session of Silver Sneakers Move Mind. Spend a few minutes relaxing, monitoring your breath, letting your body take in all the good energy, working on improving the mind-body connection and our sense of well-being. Hope to see you next time. So we'll move on now to some of our exercises and poses in sequences. One thing that's different in Boom Mind is in Silver Sneakers, it allows a participant to put their head lower than heart level, which is not allowed in most of the formats. You don't want to hold that position for very long, at most 3 breaths or 5 seconds. For equipment, I'm going to use a couple of yoga blocks. I have a mat for floor work, but since I'm wearing shoes, I want to stay off the mat until I'm down on my, until I'm laying down on the mat. So the first thing I want to do, you don't need the blocks for this, is a forward fold, where I just run my hands down my legs, let my head hang low. First three slow breaths and then stand back up. And we'll repeat that. Modification for this is to not round your back, but to keep it neutral and just hinge from the hips down to where your back is horizontal and your head is at heart level. This will still give you a good stretch in your posterior legs, while not increasing your risk for being dizzy or lightheaded. One of our basic poses is called mountain pose, where your feet are about shoulder width apart, toes pointing forwards, bring our palms forward. We just stand up tall. I imagine a force is pulling my head up and pushing my feet down into the floor. And again, hold it for 3 breaths. And I'm going to do one more forward fold. And back up. And go into what we call a one-leg deadlift, I'm going to use my blocks just as sort of a pretend weight. I'm going to hinge forward, push one leg strongly into the floor, and lift the other one behind. And I'm going to alternate sides. Remember to breathe. This is working both on balance, core stability, while strengthening the posterior. And one more. Then I'm going to pull the mat up. Go down into a tabletop position where my knees are on the mat, bend at the waist, try and keep my back pretty flat. I have the blocks to protect my wrist. They're optional if you have no problems flexing the wrist or extending them, that is. You can just put your hands flat onto the floor. Going to arch the back and then extend, pushing our belly button towards the floor. Again, hold each position for about 3 breaths. Arch. And extend. You want to keep your head neutral, gazing somewhat forward down the floor to the mat. From here, you can sit back, try and sit on your heels if you can. Extend your arms. We call this a child's pose. You can hold it for about 3 breaths. Come back up to tabletop. Next, we're going to move into a bird dog position where you lift one arm and one opposite leg. Hold it for about 3 breaths. And back to the first side. This requires good core stabilization and coordination. Other side. And one more each side. Next, I'm going to move into a plank. You can either do this with your arms straight or go down to your elbows. You can hold that plank for that 3 breaths, although you might find that you can hold it significantly longer. Going to roll to the side, put my forearm down and do a side plank. I have to put my feet in the tandem position to do a side plank. Again, hold for 3 breaths. Modification is to drop to your bottom knee onto the mat and hold that. And roll to the other side. And repeat. And modified. Back to our tabletop position. Working on a bit of thoracic spine mobility. You can take a hand, reach underneath, and then try and lift it up, pointing towards the ceiling. And the other side. You might have noticed that I don't have much mobility in my thoracic spine. So a different move is to cross your arms and rotate towards the back. Ideally, your elbow should be able to point right behind you. It's something we can work on. The last variation on that is to lay on your side, put your knees together, or you can straighten the bottom leg, either one. So we want to keep this knee towards the floor. With feedback, if you put a yoga block underneath it, you can feel that. You want to keep that knee touching the block. We'll take the other one and try and rotate it towards the opposite part of the floor. Getting a good nice stretch in both the shoulder and the spine. And then switch to the other side. So staying on the mat, I'm going to go into our Pilates 100s. On my first video we did 30s. So in this one, let's go up to 40s. So that's 4 cycles of 10 breaths. Each breath lasting for 5 counts, exhaling for 5 counts. Our feet are elevated. A modification is to just elevate 1 foot. You want to stabilize your core. Make sure your back, the lower back is pushed strongly into the mat. And we pump our arms up and down to help us keep count. And inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Keep that pattern going. So we're halfway through. You can certainly take a rest at any time. Put your feet on the floor, capture your breath, and try and get back into the exercise. This is called a rest pause modification and is actually quite useful for increasing strength and endurance. So back to the next 20. Inhale, exhale. Let's keep going, 5 more. And drop. Now's a good time to check your exertion level. Too easy, just right, too hard. Get a drink of water and come back and we'll move on for this. During our warm-up, and some of the exercises require a component of balance. So you can always do this close to a wall or have a support nearby that you can hold on to if you have difficulty with balance. We don't want people falling down. If you can hold your balance well in an upright position, you want to engage your core, your backside, stand up tall, and engage the muscles in the supporting leg, and try and maintain balance as best you can. It's very important as we get in our senior years. So to warm up, just going to start with some backward shoulder rolls. Breathing is very important for life in general, but in our boom mind, we want to concentrate on diaphragmatic breathing, where we inhale to the lower diaphragm, let the abdomen come forward, and exhale. And let's shoulder roll forwards. If we have a static posture, we don't want to hold that for longer than 3 breaths or about 5 seconds. We also want to avoid bending forward and keeping our head below heart level for longer than about 5 seconds as well. Okay, and do some arm circles, palms down forward. You can start off low, get the shoulders warming up. If you're doing shoulder exercises or rolls, you want to concentrate on keeping your shoulder blades down and retracted, or trying to get them to come together in the middle of the back. And let's reverse our arms circles. And let's do some forward shoulder rolls. Warm-up is always really important before engaging in an exercise session. In this facility, it's a public gym. I'm usually here early before anyone else. I like to go around, put away the weights that are out, just clean things up. Even though I'm not an employee, it's a good way to warm up my body just by walking, lifting modest weights, and I also feel it's useful. Okay, so a little bit of mind work. Let's rotate one shoulder forwards and try and rotate the other one backwards and combine the two forward, backwards. find doing the shoulders is easier than trying to do my thumbs with this activity. And let's reverse, other arm forward, other arm backwards. And do some trunk twist. You can either keep your gaze forward or twist your head to the side as well. This might make you dizzy. If not, it's a good way to warm up your proprioception centers and get you an opportunity to look around your facility, other participants, whatever. Okay. We're just going to start with some little knee bends. Just done slow, warming up your legs. If you bring your arms up and down, we'll hold this in the knee position for a few breaths, no more than 3. And back up. And that's our chair pose. And one more. Let's do some marching. Just letting the elevated side toe just tap the floor. Now let's lift the knee higher. Down. Again, engage your core and the muscles in your supporting leg. This hip flexion is an activity that as we get older can get quite weak, which makes going upstairs difficult. So doing this knee lift, holding it for a few seconds, can start to strengthen those muscles while working on balance as well. And we want to take our one side toe, tap it out to the side and back. You can go with your own speed. In Boom Mind, we use 3 levels of perceived exertion. 1, it's too easy. 2, it's just right. And 3, this is harder than I can maintain. The goal is to stay in that moderate exercise range of 2. Or like Goldilocks, just right. Let's switch to the other side. You need to remember the cue. Progress on this one. We're going to do a forward tap, side tap, and behind, and then back together. Forward, side, together. And the other side, forward, side, back, together. And let's reverse the first leg, back, side, forward, together. And one more. And switch sides, back, forward, together. And one more. Now to progress this, again you can continue to do that back, front side back, or take your non-supporting leg and cross it in front, to the side, and behind. Might have to bend that supporting knee a little bit. And okay, and let's switch the other side. Front, side, behind, side. Front, side, behind, side. Remember to breathe and maintain your posture. And last. And to progress even further, we want to take our leg, go out to the side, lift it up. Maybe you can add your arms. And let's alternate sides. To the side, lift up, arms. Up, arms. Try and hold this for about 3 breaths. And down. Side, up, arms, 3 breaths. Okay, good. Shake it out. Take a little break, get a drink of water, and come right back. Welcome to this edition of Silver Sneakers Boom Mind. The title Boom Mind might be confusing to some people. It is an exercise session. It incorporates a fusion of various Silver Sneakers disciplines or formats, such as stability, yoga, energy, some muscle strengthening, and is designed to improve flexibility, mobility, strength, and the connection between the mind and the body. And a lot of exercise requires a good, strong neural connection between the brain and the nervous system and the muscles to be performed properly. Some of the moves might be new to you. If you've studied yoga, Pilates, some of them will be familiar. Again, I'm not a true yogi, so some of my postures are probably look like beginner postures, which 70 years old, quite stiff. After a hard life, I'm happy that I can do any of them. So I hope you enjoy this workout. Equipment is pretty much who you might have a couple of yoga blocks, which can protect your wrist for certain moves. A mat. You can wear shoes in this format. So either wear shoes and socks or go barefoot. We want to avoid slipping and falling. If you use a mat for the standing exercises, you should be in your bare feet. Otherwise, do the standing exercises on a firm floor.